Hey, this is Steve Halleck of Timekeeping. I'm back with another video review here. You can already see what we're getting into. But before we start, you can always find me at timekeeping.com or at Steve Halleck on Instagram. And do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell on this channel. I'm trying to really bring you guys a lot of great reviews, all the coolest watches, and it feels good to get a little positive feedback. I love to see your comments. I try to write back to them when I can, so keep it coming. This has all been really fun, and today I have a really fun watch for you. This is the MAD1. Some people call it the MB&F MAD1, but it's not really technically an MB&F, and we'll get into all of that. But before, let's just look at it in a quick 360-degree rotation so you can see everything we're dealing with. This is an incredibly complex sort of shape and case. I've never really seen anything like it, so you have to kind of take in what we're dealing with first here. Okay, for those of you unfamiliar with this watch, which is probably no one at this point, as this has gotten a lot of press and it has just sort of taken the watch world by storm. This watch was made by Max Buser of MB&F, and it was made basically as a, not a gift, it wasn't free, but as a token of appreciation to members of what they call the tribe. So MB&F has a program where if you buy a watch from them, if you own a watch, you can register it on their website, which is, and that group of people is called the tribe. And you get an extended warranty and, access to certain, maybe release info early, stuff like that. But in this case, you got the opportunity to buy one of these. And, to say, oh, the opportunity to buy a luxury watch, normally is kind of BS. They'll say, oh, you've got an opportunity to buy this Audemars Piguet for $180,000 or something. But in this case, it was pretty cool because this watch was only 2,000 Swiss francs. So it's about $2,200 US. And that's pretty cool, right? Because there's almost nothing you can buy for $2,200 that's interesting at all. So it caused a whole fury. People went nuts over these things. And I think probably to everyone's surprise, these are now trading. It's February 2022. The street price of this watch is over $20,000, which is totally bananas. But the market has spoken, right? So let's see what's cool about it, what's not as cool. What do you get for your money here? I think it's important to keep in mind that this was never meant to be a $20,000 watch, right? So that's really the reason why this is not an MB&F. This is another brand. It's MAD, it's M.A.D, which is the same as the MAD galleries, so it's not, it's not an MB&F. It's not MB&F quality. It's not up to the MB&F standards. It's not supposed to be a $25,000 watch. However, what it is sort of by far the most interesting $2,000 watch that you're ever going to see. Okay, so let's check it out. First of all, you'll notice that you can't figure out how to tell the time, right? All you really see is this balance wheel, but mainly this huge rotor that just dances all the time. So the reason you can't tell the time is because the time's not there. The time is here. So you have these two big cylinders, blue and black, and that is your hours and your minutes. So right now it's about 1:32, right? If you need to know the precise minute, this is not the watch for you. But if you're okay getting it within, 1 or 2, then no problem reading the time. It's actually super easy. And so that's your hand right there. And I'll show you how they spin around. Okay, so So there you go. We're going through the time, and now it's 2 o'clock, right? Okay, so that's how it works. Pretty easy, and it's a driver's watch. So when you have it on your wrist, you read the time there. Got it? Okay, so now let's go to a bunch of cool features. I've never seen anything like these lugs. The lugs form sort of a chassis that the entire watch sits on. And, you know, before I made this video, I asked Max, I had a question. First of all, I wanted to know what the material of this is. So you can see the entire bottom half of the case is some sort of glass. Didn't feel like sapphire to me. So I wanted to know what it was. And in fact, I was right. It is a tempered glass. Okay, so this whole bottom part of the case is a tempered glass. The crystal here is sapphire. Okay, so you have sapphire here, tempered glass here. But this basically is this entire case bit, and it sits inside the cradle of the lugs, which have this sort of chassis on the back, right? So one of the things Max said is particularly cool and to pay attention to, which is funny because I was trying to figure out as he typed, there's no visible screws on this case. So what is holding this to that? I'll let you guys try to figure it out yourselves, but it's an interesting mystery of a case. So then some other cool things. The rotor is probably the most dancey, playful rotor I've ever seen. It just goes nonstop. When this thing's on your wrist, it goes nonstop. And you'll see it's not really immediately clear how that's done, right? Because you have 3 equal sections. It shouldn't really spin so well. The rotor is actually made of tungsten and titanium. So tungsten is heavy, titanium's light, and so you can put the weight all the way here on the edges, and you can see how it just spins like crazy. So that's really cool. All of a sudden, you're starting to get into all of these things which are just very uncommon to see in cheaper watches. You know, this is not a mass-produced piece of kit. These are outside of the box solutions that are made in very small quantities, and normally that leads to very high prices. So the fact that all of this is done for $2,000 is completely bananas. So on top of that, one way of saving money in theory, was to use a M.A.D base movement. So that's what this base is, and you can see it's nothing particularly special. It has sort of a decently high level of factory finish, but nothing that one would consider haute or lingerie. But in talking to Max, he said that actually these 2 cylinders with the time are so heavy that they required a complete reworking of this movement. So it's basically nearly an in-house movement at this point because of how much of it needed to be changed to be able to drive these with enough power. So again, amazing to see that at this price point, and just something you basically would never see in any other situation. Okay, so one other thing, and the other huge feature of this watch, which I can't show you right now because I have light on here that I can't turn off, otherwise my video won't work. But the lume in this watch is incredible. So these 3 sections on the rotor have lume in them, and they dance completely, you know, obviously all night. So if you're outside in the dark or at a restaurant or whatever and it's dark, you know, you get this moving neon green light basically all the time. And these huge numerals are also fully lumed, as is the little time telly arrow there. So Max said that was a huge challenge, actually getting lume onto these, because of course, you know, they're curved along with the cylinder. So how do you get the lume painted on there properly on that curved surface was an interesting engineering challenge. Again, you just don't see people taking on any engineering challenges for in the $2,000 price range. It just doesn't happen, you know. So very, very cool. The blue here is striking in person, matches the blue down there, but mainly you see this blue as you're wearing it. It's really beautiful. One thing I really don't like about the watch is the crown. I understand kind of why it was necessary, because you needed a very small crown in this location, and then you wouldn't have really been able to manipulate it well. So it has this kind of like an old pocket watch, this type of thing. I just don't like this kind of a design. You know, Beauvais does this a lot in their cases, and I've always kind of hated it. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. For $2,000, you're doing really well here. It comes on this interesting strap, which is kind of a classic racing strap with these holes. But it's like a light gray. Almost comes off as white, but it's not white. It's a light gray with blue stitching that matches the blue here, and a deployant buckle that has your MAD on there. So, and it's a locked deployant, so you push these on the outside to open it, right? So really, really high quality. The strap feels really nice. It's thick, but still supple and comfortable on the wrist. And it's nice to have a deployant. Again, none of this stuff is particularly special. It's not like a really high-end, super nice quality deployant. The case is steel. It's, I believe, 42 millimeters. The finishing is nothing special. It's just this kind of like machine polished finish that you see on a lot of kind of cheaper watches. And the watch, you know, it feels a little bit cheap. It doesn't feel like a $25,000 watch, or, you know, I can understand why Max wouldn't want this to be an MB&F. It just, you know, you feel an MB&F, and one of the great things about MB&F, in fact, is their designs are crazy, and they're always doing crazy things, but the quality is still amazing. You know, the quality is still like a Lange or, you know, any of these really high-end brands where they kind of ooze quality. And MB&F is like that too. You hold one and you realize that it's not just a kind of crazy case. The quality is really there. This watch doesn't really have that. It's got the craziness, but without the quality thrown on top of it. So it kind of feels, you know, if you had your eyes closed and somebody handed you this watch and they said, you know, what do you think this is? You know, you could guess it was a Seiko or something like that. It doesn't feel amazing, right? It's kind of light. It's a little bit chintzy. But, you know, for what you're getting in terms of really interesting material solutions with the tungsten and titanium rotor, the glass here, the way the case is constructed, the time-telling mechanism, what was required to rework the movement to be able to do that, the Lume and how it's done, and just how amazingly cool this looks at night. And you really have a lot of this mechanical art on the wrist ethos wrapped in, well, what was supposed to be at least an affordable package. Unfortunately for most people now, it's out of the realm again. But, you know, really, really cool watch. And I wish there were more things like this within the watch industry, because this is really what we need here. So let me show you on the wrist. And this is, by the way, my personal watch, which I paid the $2,300 for, and I've turned down offers for it. It is not for sale. You know, sometimes if somebody gives you a gift, basically, I don't feel right turning around and selling it. So I'm happy to have this. It's a cool historical thing, I think. And, you know, I wear it sometimes. My wife actually really loves wearing it. So just in case you were going to try to buy it off me, the answer is no. So that's it on the wrist. You can see the movement. I mean, I'm barely moving because I'm trying to keep myself in frame, but it just is going nonstop, basically. And super easy to read the time. The only thing that's a little bit tricky in reading the time is figuring out exactly which hour you're corresponding to. So as it gets into the middle, at around 3:30, then it becomes a little bit tricky. You have to remember that you're looking at 3:30 and not 4:30, which direction that top cylinder is going in. But, not a big deal. Anyway, looks awesome on the wrist. The case fits super nicely. It is 42 millimeter, but Max is incredibly good at designing lugs that will fit small wrists. So again, my wife loves wearing this watch and she has no problem wearing it. So that's it. That's the MAD1 from Max Buser, not from MB&F, although sort of from MB&F. I mean, let's be honest with each other here. So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, please hit subscribe if you want to be one of the first to see that I have a new video up. Hit that notification bell down there. I'm bringing you guys everything I got, so I hope you're enjoying these. And man, this is just a bit of fun. This is what it's all about, right? Have a good week.